Around Christmas of 2014, I was able to procure a miniature animatronic Billy Bob doll. This doll was never released to the public, but quite a few made it into private hands. The doll ran on small DC motors, and I had no experience with electronics, but with the help of my dad and a local engineer, we were able to slowly get Billy Bob operational. Unfortunately, we never got him fully operational because an opportunity came up to trade him for a full, mechanical Looney Bird head, and I chose to make this trade because I wanted to work with an actual Rock-afire character, and this was pretty close. Soon after this, Funtown Mountain came to the attention of the fan community. An amusement park in Cave City, Kentucky would be buying the Wolfpack 5, the predecessor of the Rock-afire explosion, directly from Aaron Fechter. And not only that, they had also purchased a mini-stage Rock-afire explosion from Hillwood Strike and Spare, and would have that show performing as well. And we were all very excited to see this happen. Now, to fund the creation of the amusement park, a Kickstarter was started. And when I was scrolling through this Kickstarter, I noticed something kind of interesting. Although Funtown was supposed to have this Rock-afire mini-stage set up, they were actually listing the characters as one of the rewards. So if someone donated a certain amount of money to this Kickstarter, they would get a Rock-afire character from that set. I was of course shocked that they were offering one of their attractions as a reward, and looking back on it now, it seems to indicate significant problems with the project, which unfortunately ended up having a disastrous ending. I discussed this Kickstarter with my dad because it seemed like a good opportunity to get a character at a fair price. And since he saw it as a good educational project where I've learned about mechanics, electronics, art, all kinds of things, he decided to go through with donating to the Kickstarter. The owner of Funtown Mountain contacted us and thanked us for the contribution. This was in April of 2015. In May of 2015, I got a surprise visit to the home of the Rock-afire explosion. I got to meet Aaron and see the Rock-afire for the first time.
Get up and dance to a song that was a hit before your mother was born. Though she was born a long, long time ago, your mother should know. Your mother should know. Sing it again. Lift up your hearts and sing me a song that was a hit before your mother was born. Though she was born a long, long time ago, your mother should know.
It was a very foundational experience, and Aaron offered me some advice on restoring the Billy Bob I would be getting from Funtown Mountain. The visit was amazing and cemented my interest in the Rock-afire explosion. Unfortunately, there was some difficulty with the Funtown Mountain deal. It's a long story, but we did not end up with Billy Bob, whom we had originally agreed upon, but luckily did end up with Mitzi. On June 23rd of 2015, I received my first animatronic. Now, I had no idea how I would even begin the restoration, and for the first few months I would manually operate the movements using a bicycle pump. Now, eventually we did purchase a bank of 4 valves to allow some testing of the movements, and working with an electrical engineer, I learned some Arduino coding skills, and together we were able to figure out how to use MIDI keyboard signals to control Mitzi. Around this time, I was helping History San Jose with the restoration of their Chuck E. Cheese animatronic, and they mentioned they were having a mini maker fair that September. I displayed my work on Mitzi there, and ironically, I was set up right next to the very first Topo robot made by Nolan Bushnell. Throughout 2015 and 2016, I continued to try to get Billy Bob from Funtown Mountain. After a problematic opening, Funtown closed and was put up for auction. I constantly kept up with this and contacted multiple potential buyers. Once David and Vicky Froggatt purchased the property, I was able to contact them, and luckily they were interested in selling Billy Bob to me. We made a deal, and in September of 2016, Billy Bob arrived. While I started restoration on Billy Bob, I would also attend the Santa Cruz Mini Maker Fair in April of 2017. In May of 2017, I would get to showcase my work on Billy Bob and Mitzi at the Santa Clara Maker Faire. Thousands of people got to see the two characters in their partially restored state, and I got interviewed by Norm from Tested. I would continue the restoration of Billy Bob and Mitzi, and in early 2018 I started to communicate with an antique shop in South Africa that had some Rock-afire characters. And after a few months, I was actually able to purchase these characters, and after figuring out the logistics, ship them to the US. They were in serious disrepair and would need an intense restoration. To fund the restoration of Billy Bob and Mitzi, and eventually Fats, I sold Duke, Beach Bear, and Mitzi from the South Africa set. By this time, the Rock-afire bar had opened, and I did some work on that show with my friend Kanan. In February of 2019, I took another visit to Creative Engineering, and I ended up painting a Duke mask for Aaron's show. By May of 2019, I had 3 characters almost entirely restored: Billy Bob and Mitzi from Funtown, as well as Fats from South Africa. I took them to the Santa Clara Maker Faire in 2019.